I was in considerably higher spirits after eating. I excused myself after finishing the galette. I got a little self-conscious about how long I was taking to meet the superior. Even though there had been a few awkward moments, I didn't really want the conversation to end. Still, feeling like I should be responsible and punctual, I excused myself partway through a continued discussion about what animals Eustace could best in hand-to-hand combat. Nuns versus ducks! Penguins versus ducks! Let's go! Darcy helpfully volunteered to show me to the office. It was on the first floor, further down the hallway she had taken me down on the way to the kitchen and bath. Here you go. Thank you. And thank you again for the mint as well. And for showing me around before. Oh, and I helped cook lunch. Oh, well, thank you for that as well. I didn't make all of it, but enough that it's sad not to hear a thank you from the others, and nice to hear it from you. Well, in I go. In you go. Enter. I opened the door and slipped inside. Darcy watched me with a big grin still plastered onto her face. The Superior's office was small, but meticulously kept. It was rather plush compared to the rest of the rooms I had seen so far. A grand window looked out into the garden, and there was a door off to the left that I presumed led to a private bedchamber. The Superior herself sat at a thick oaken desk in a rather large, ornate chair. How are you feeling? Much better, thank you. Good. Good. How has your morning fared? Setting aside your little fainting spell. I rummaged around in recent memory for a reassuring anecdote. Oh, it's been an interesting experience. I managed to run straight into Sister Angela on the way into the chapel. And Sister Catherine introduced me to Sister Margaret. Aha. Those two. Try not to let them rope you into any schemes. No, of course. They're both incredibly adept at sneaking around. Both of them have managed to scare me witless with their creeping. I'm relieved I'm not alone, then. Indeed. Do you have any leads yet? Leads? Any idea who could have killed Catherine yet? Any hint at all? Anything to follow up on? No. Oh, that is a pity. Mother Superior, I've been out of my cell for all of 6 hours, if that. For much of that time, I was ill, and then asleep, and then alone in a bathtub. What clues could you possibly expect me to have already? Did you really think someone would slip up and tell me over luncheon? No. Well, I was secretly hoping, but no. I suppose I shouldn't have counted on anything quite so miraculous happening. She turned around and stepped towards the large window. Some thorny bushes were growing underneath, and a few trees dotted the path between the building and the garden. Light and shadow danced across her habit as she paced back and forth slowly. I don't even know how Catherine died. I've heard some mournful whispers from the sisters I've met, but I haven't a clue as to what actually happened. When did she pass? How? Where is her body? Sister Catherine was found in the cloister on the first morning of November. She was laying on her back with a sword plunged into the earth just above her. Her head had been cut off and arranged in her hands. It was ghoulish. So that's what was in the grass. I thought it was a crucifix. Yes. No one, least of all me, could bear to remove it. It's become something of a monument to Catherine, I suppose. Rather grim. A bloodied sword feels like an awful way to remember someone. You'll get no argument from me, but these women are strange sometimes. That would be true regardless of my suspicions. That said, the blade is actually clean. It was clean even when we found it. It was? Yes. Angela found the stable boy hiding in the yard without a speck of blood on him, but Sister Darcy discovered his cloak elsewhere. It was quite tarnished, and Angela surmised he had used it to wipe down the blade before attempting to flee. A sound theory at the time. I have my doubts now, though. Who found the body? Sister Charity, on one of her morning walks. The round woman you met at lunch. Don't call someone round! I don't mean it as an insult. Go up, thou bald one! What? What happened with Catherine's body? If you're hoping to play surgeon and examine her for clues, I'm afraid she's already been interred. I understand. This was actually a small relief. As determined as I was to find Catherine's killer and help bring them to justice, a dead body was the last thing I wanted to see. Where was she buried? The cemetery is a short hike from here, on the hill. I can have one of the sisters show you there, should you feel the need to visit. Say a few words. Not that you could have known her, I suppose. Oh, what a great idea. What if the murderer, since you don't believe it was the suspicious boy with blood on his shirt, decides to off me as well? Perhaps while taking me on a pleasant hike, alone, up to this cemetery. I must say, it feels rather difficult involving myself with the others when you've directed me to spy on them. You make it sound so ugly. We are seeking justice. I had no choice in the matter. I'm sticking my neck out based on your intuition. Well, let's not fight about it. What's done is done. You are no longer an anchoress. You are free to do whatever you wish once the killer is captured. I was perfectly happy where I was. Don't be ridiculous. You might as well have been a prisoner. If that were so, I'd have been your prisoner. I really, truly do not want to fight about this. Yes, so you keep saying every time I question something. Stop giving me this insolence! By God, where is the awkward little titmouse who introduced herself to service this morning? She's standing in front of you, rather upset about the situation she's been thrust into. You are not but a bratty child. A woman, a member of our family, has had her bloody head cut off, and all you can think about is your own comfort. These people are not my family, you least of all. I am your superior. I am your abbess. You are my charge, and you will do as I say. I have been as accommodating and kind as I possibly can in asking for your assistance, but make no mistake. I do not need to ask, nor will I in the future if I require something of you. I am neither ant nor sluggard, abbess. I will respect your wishes as my superior, but I am not a soldier awaiting commands. Are you surprised? I must admit I surprised myself at this moment as well. Maybe my humors were still off kilter. Maybe I was tired of feeling meek and embarrassed all morning. Perhaps I, free from myself for the first time in many years, was trying out new behaviors to see how they fit me the way one tries on a new cloak at the market. Or maybe, just maybe, it was something else. Do you think Darcy could have been right when she said this place was haunted? I am sorry. Once again, I am being unfair. Please try to understand. I have so much love for this place. These halls are my responsibility, and if it all falls apart, I don't know what I'd do. If you truly believe the stable boy did not do it, I could so easily throw him to the wolves. Don't you see? I do not mean to throw you to them in his place. I mean to take the more difficult path here. I would rather stake my reputation on seeking the truth than condemn an innocent boy for my own gain. It would not be right. I understand. I could feel myself becoming smaller, meeker again, deflating like an empty water skin. If you want me to start truly investigating things, I need somewhere to start. I can't just hope to stumble into the answer. May I speak with the accused? The stable boy in the hospital? An obvious but nonetheless excellent idea. I felt so trapped by my position leading the convent, despite this investigation ultimately being my responsibility. I didn't dare think of involving myself so directly, but you could speak with him. I will take you to the hospitalum. In secret, of course. I'll arrange for a time and send you under the pretense of more chronicler business. I would still pose my first question to you again, however. Think hard. Has anything stuck out as particularly unusual to you? Everything is unusual to me. I was fighting back tears now. Meek. Everything. Did Catherine tell you I barely made it down the stairs this morning? In my mind, I knew what stairs were, but I can't remember if I'd ever actually walked up or down any before today. It will take you some time to adjust. I'm not sure if I will ever fully adjust. Have faith. If I could offer one small observation at least. If there's anything I find strange, it's how calm everyone seems. So you felt it too. I'm glad it was just not my own superstition. Everyone seems happy. Especially at luncheon, they were joking, laughing. I suppose I'd have no way of truly knowing, but the congregation certainly isn't behaving the way I'd expect them to, knowing one of them just died. It is odd, isn't it? Yes, I suppose. Your instincts weren't wrong in asking for my help. I changed the subject quickly. I did not want the superior to think I was happy with her choice and my situation. God forbid. Oh, a question. Is it true the hours are compressed here? A morning service and an evening office that encompasses every office? Yes. That is fairly standard in most monistic communities nowadays. Why didn't you tell me that? My cell wasn't far away. You knew how to use stairs. The bishop forbade it. Why? Because an anchorette's entire purpose is to do the things normal people cannot. Well, she was right. I tensed and untensed my hands a few times, unsure what to do with myself. I was to bear burdens no one else was expected to, all alone in there. You thought otherwise? I don't know. I suppose I never really considered it. I just read scripture and theology all the time. I had an idea in my mind of what an abbey was supposed to look like, and I thought even if my role was different, everyone else's would at least be similar. Things are very different when you have responsibilities. With great power comes great responsibility. The day-to-day tasks of earthly life, as much as the monastery reduces them to their basics, are still quite time-consuming. Animals must be tended to. Food must be grown and prepared. Work arises and must be done. Besides, you had your own work to do. You had books to copy, scripture to commit to memory, prayers for the townspeople to amplify. What? You were given written prayers to say for people. That was one of your core duties. I was given no such thing. Now is a very poor time for jokes. I am being completely serious. I have no idea what you're talking about. I copied books. I prayed the hours. I was never given anything else to pray for, save the occasional visitor to the hagioscope's prayers. She gave me a piercing, icy glare. Then, as if a set of strings holding her upright had been cut, she collapsed into her chair. I don't understand. We are very far from the nearest village or town here. Nonetheless, we are here, and we serve the people of Lynborough and their needs. Offer them help with their prayers. Of course. I would have happily done so if I had received any. Because we're up on this hill, we're sent supplies from the village. Things we can't grow ourselves, essentials, the occasional holiday luxuries, and so on. She reached down to a drawer under her desk, pulling out 2 small cups and a carafe. She uncorked the container, poured some dark liquid into both cups. Wine. Drink up. She slid one of the cups towards me with her own. I took it gingerly. I had, of course, wine before, but this smelled different. This is nicer than anything you've had brought to you, I'd wager. One of the aforementioned occasional luxuries. Drink it. Please. I braved a sip. She was right. It was different. Now, for one thing, it was quite strong. Merlot? I am not drinking fucking Merlot! The superior took a big swig of hers and continued. When you were brought here and made to take the vows, one of the first things that crossed my mind was how inconvenient it would be to expect the people of the village to trek up here every time they needed spiritual aid. Why, it'd be positively cruel to make children walk all the way up to the anchoress themselves. Old men with walking sticks, you get the picture. And since we are all the way up here on this lonely hill, I thought, why, I know what would make things easier. I offer the townsfolk a simple idea. They're an educated sort down there, you see. Not like us, or, well, she waved her cup towards the door. More than them. I told the people to write their prayers down. Give them to the young man who brings our supplies. We'll sort through them and pass them on to the anchoress here. And did they? I saw the envelopes, yes. Many times. I don't understand. The abbess took a final pull from her cup and slammed it back down onto the desk. Giving those letters to you was Catherine's responsibility. I didn't know what to say. The woman who had come to the hagioscope so many times, who had seemed so interested in me and my way of life, had been hiding an entire function of my job from me? Why? It made no sense. The already foggy picture I had of Catherine in my mind was losing definition. I suppose I could start by just asking the others about Catherine. Be careful. That could raise suspicions rather quickly. Well, I'm taking over her old role. It would make sense to everyone if I asked about her, I think. I should know the size of the shoes I'm meant to fill. As long as you're careful to frame it that way. Of course. I just don't understand. Why would Catherine withhold my letters? The Superior let out a heavy sigh and brought a hand to her temple. She looked as if she had aged 5 years over the course of this conversation. I don't know. The more I hear, the less I understand. That's exactly how I feel. I know this is the right thing to do. But I was not expecting things to get this tangled quite so quickly. I will do my best to untangle things, Abbess. I tried my utmost to sound authoritative. Maybe I really was trying out new personalities. The Superior gave me a tired smile in response. Bless you. Take a wander around the grounds and talk with some of the sisters. They should be taking most of the rest of the day for their work, but I'm sure they'll make time to chat. I gave a little bow of my head and turned to leave through the large oaken door. I stepped out into the empty hallway. I had no idea where to start looking for people, but I realized now was as decent a time as any to explore the new abbey and get my bearings. Now, truth be told, I had no idea how huge this place actually was when I was in my cell. I had a few diagrams of monasteries and cathedrals in my books, but those were just little lines on a page. Now that I was actually wandering around an abbey myself, one that seemed to eschew the careful layouts I had read about at that, I found myself marveling at the tiniest things. Most of the stonework was quite old. I noticed that some walls lining the path to the bath and kitchen were in disrepair. I didn't quite know how to describe it, but it wasn't just dilapidation. Some parts of this place just looked older, squared off, less detailed. The chapel, for instance, while certainly very tall inside, felt very simple. A big box, really. But as I walked around the grounds, I noticed that certain sections of the abbey were meticulously detailed. There were little flourishes on the corners of the stonework. Bits and pieces that didn't seem to serve any particular function, but certainly caught the eye. And then I thought, maybe that was the function. I hadn't seen many other buildings before, but I could immediately spot the difference between parts of the monastery. I reached for a comparison I could make. I connected it to books, of course. Some parts of the abbey felt like they had been built the way the Old Testament had been translated. Functional, blunt. Constructed out of the bare necessities to make their point immediately. In the story of Elisha I was relaying earlier, the distance between the bears tearing those children apart and Elisha arriving in Bethel is 2 lines or so. Other parts of the abbey were more majestic. Pretty. Perhaps there's a structural reason for the way things look, but the look is what draws you in. You can gaze at it and ponder what it means, rather than understanding its purpose immediately. Maybe it's just decorative. Maybe it's decorative and functional. Or perhaps the decoration is the function. It's long-winded and aesthetically interesting, like something Aquinas wrote. Romanesque versus Gothic? Well, yes, that was exactly what I was getting to. I apologize for rambling. Nope, keep the lore dumping up. Like, I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm not going to judge you for the lore dumping. God will do that for me. I'm trying to illustrate how my mind was piecing my new world together after being locked in a room for years and years. I suppose I'm the Aquinas between the two of us, aren't I? Not in talent, by God, but certainly in method. Oh, that's okay. You can be Roman, and I'll be Gothic. I took a turn I hadn't made before down some stairs. Whoa, stairs! Tread lightly, sister. I trod carefully, still embarrassed about my little adventure with Catherine that morning. I realized I was stepping into the undercroft, which meant the cellars must be nearby. I wandered through the croft until I heard voices echoing around. They sounded strained. I followed them until I spotted barrels. Lots and lots of barrels. I walked through the rows of casks in awe. This was a lot of wine. We're getting crunk with the Lord tonight, bitches. I could see 2 figures ahead of me. Oh, hello, Hedwig. Hello, you two. Did Marta put you on cellar duty? Oh, no. I just came down here to talk to Flora. I was on cellar duty. Is everything all right? Oh, everything's just fine. We were just talking about chess. I'm very competitive, and sometimes I just raise my voice, I suppose. Yeah. Are you good at chess, Hedwig? I've Never played, actually. Oh, of course. What a silly question for me to ask. Who would you have played against? That's right. You can play chess against yourself. Oh, where's the fun in that? You get to be alone, for starters. I never thought I would have so much in common with 16th century nuns. Bah! No. That is such a waste of time. There's no romance in that. Romance? The thrill of competition. The heat of battle. Chivalry requires spectatorship. To do battle not with swords, but with wits. Romance takes two. Wow, you certainly do get passionate about chess. I can romance myself just fine. Every line out of Flora is gold. I do it all the time. I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but since you did. Flora! Now you two are just disrespecting the game. What's the game? Oh, well, you've already lost. Lol, I'm so random. Well. Anyway, Flora, I still demand a rematch. You will face me on the field of battle of the mind, and I will prove to you that your last victory was but a fluke. Fine. Whatever. If it'll get you out of my face. Tonight, we duel. Adela lifted up an imaginary sword, then twirled it and sheathed it at her side. Okay, sure. Bye. Goodbye, my friends. If you are interested, Hedwig, I will teach you how to play one day. All you have to do is ask. She gave me a smile and left down the long passage of barrels. Come to think of it, I might have an Alexander Neckham book that mentions Chet. I don't care. Right. I suppose that's something I could tell Adela sometime. What do you want? Oh, nothing. Just making the rounds. Saying hello to everyone, you know. So this is, what, your third introduction? Sorry. Flora huffed and leaned against the casks lined up along the back wall. Look, I'm sure you're really nice or whatever, but I don't volunteer down here for the conversation, understand? You like to work alone. Finally! Someone understands. Well, I will be working alone a lot too, I think. So do you have any advice? Advice? Yes. Advice for working alone? Certainly. Well, for starters, you need to be by yourself. All right. And then, once I'm by myself, I like to do my work. Why are you asking me for advice anyway? Aren't you, like, twice my age? I'm barely a decade your senior, I'll have you know. Close enough. Marta had been right. I tried to change the subject to maintain composure. This is certainly a lot of wine. Yes, as you can see, I have a lot of work to do. These barrels aren't gonna drink themselves. Alone. Is the wine here good? Oh, I wouldn't know. I haven't gotten to try any. This batch will be the first the Superior's allowed me to taste. We must have a large vineyard nearby. These aren't all ours. Oh, really? Where are the other casks from? Don't know. Ah. Some rich guy, probably. Maybe this is a good environment for wine storage. Good for bringing out the flavor, or whatever. I see. Well, I shall leave you to it then. Thank you. It was nice chatting with you. Yeah, nice meeting you for the third time. I turned away to leave. I'd had just about enough of that conversation. I had made it halfway back through the rows of barrels when I heard Flora call out to me. Why did you want Catherine II's job so bad? I didn't. Really? Yes. I promise. I turned to look at her. She was eyeing me up and down. I tried to give her as defiant a stare as I could muster in return. Weird way of showing it. Breaking a 20-year vow to take a dead woman's work. I wanted to tell her about Catherine's visits to my window. I wanted to tell her about how the Superior had practically forced me to do this. I wanted to tell her that I was trying to help heal the wound that was making her act this way towards me. But I didn't. I couldn't. If you want to put it that way, sure feels like that's the way it is. How I'm putting it has nothing to do with it. So it must seem. With that, I turned around again and left the Undercroft. I wandered around the halls for a bit, trying to gather my thoughts. Adela was certainly passionate about chess, but was that really what the conversation I had walked in on had been about? Surely Adela had been here long enough to know Flora didn't like being bothered. She had made that clear to me immediately, after all. It must have been something more important than that. No. This wasn't going to work if I started looking for reasons to suspect everyone every time I encountered them. I was going to need to strike a careful balance between searching for the answers and letting them come to me slowly. I'd go mad otherwise. Well, more mad. I stepped onto the outside path that led past the kitchen. I walked past the rectory where we had all met for luncheon. I followed the little path around the grounds. Eventually, I came to the side of the chapel. I stood back and gazed at the building, taking it all in. There was a pile of rubble next to the chapel, a blemish on an otherwise picturesque scene. Bits of splintered wood struck out at odd angles, but they were rotted through. The stone itself was quite weathered as well. It looked perhaps as if an extension to the church had been planned, but forgotten. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed movement. Oh, hello there. Ah, Sister Margaret. I was just taking a stroll around the grounds. That's a good way to pass the time. Lots of nooks and crannies to explore around here. Yes, it certainly seems it. I find myself quite overwhelmed. I think I might know most of the interesting passages and doors and whatnot around here. It's a little boggling. But honestly, I doubt anyone here knows every little secret. If you find anything interesting, let me know. We can compare notes. I will! What's your favorite? Huh. I don't think I know you well enough to share that just yet. Oh, nothing against you. We can work up to my favorite. I can tell you my second favorite if you'd like. Go on then. If you ever get hungry in the middle of the night, there's a secret way into the stores through the cellar. Really? Where? Now, where's the fun in that? Fair enough, I suppose. It'll mean more if you find it yourself. Just keep on tapping the wall until you hear the hollow spot, then you blow it up with a bomb flower. Oh wait, that's the other game. Exploring this place is very enriching. You'll have a great time figuring it out, I promise. I'll keep that in mind. By the way, at luncheon, I would like nothing more than to skip over whatever topic you were hoping to breach there. Ask me whatever my favorite psalm is, or if I play any instruments. Anything else. Well, do you play any instruments? I'm not too shabby at the lute now that you mention it. Wow. I've never played any instruments. I imagine that's obvious, come to think of it. You should try it. Catherine would have shoved one into your hands the minute you stepped out of your cell if she was still here, I'd wager. Really now? That's more or less how it was for me when I got here. Hardly a minute after having my hair shorn, she was asking me all kinds of things. What I liked to do, what I wanted out of life. Nobody got past her without trying something new. She sounds like she was very inspirational. She certainly had the stars in her eyes. May she rest in peace. May she rest in peace. Well, this has been as pleasant as it's been maudlin. I'll speak to you later, Hedwig. Until next time, Margaret. She gave me a quick bow of the head and continued down towards the path I'd come from. After taking another good look at the chapel, I looped around behind it. There I could see rows upon rows of bushes and hedges, flower beds and vegetables. There were vines crawling up the walls of the building, surrounding the vast network of plants. This was Darcy's domain, then. In fact, I could see her and Eustace besides the door to what looked like a large shed or some kind of hall. I picked up my pace. At the very least, these two would be nicer to me than Flora was. Or so I thought. Eustace looked slightly irritated when she noticed me. She stood up and brushed herself off as I approached. Hello, I wanted to say thank you for the... Now is not a great time. What? Is something wrong? No, just... I'm busy. I glanced at Darcy. I realized she was looking even more out there than usual. Oh no, Darcy's been digging into her stash a little bit too much. we gotta bring her back down to earth. Is she okay? Yes. As long as I'm watching her anyway. What is she... Darcy was pacing around in a small circle. All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. Her head was tilted skyward, and she looked blissful. She's having a vision. She's what? Rows of bookshelves. Rows and rows of bookshelves. Rows and rows and rows of bookshelves. Guys, this story is taking a direction I could not have anticipated. Oh, hold on. Eustace dipped down to pick up a small ledger and quill she had been sitting with. The reader chooses a book. It is a book the reader has not read before. The reader chooses a book and opens the book. Oh, what's in the book, Darcy? Ink lashes like flame, and they hurt the reader so. But the reader pays no mind. Readers read and read the reader does, until the reader's eyes are burned, until every page is turned
Take a look! It's in a book! Readers read and the reader does.
Well, yes. Keep going. Stay with me, Dars. How can you be so calm about this? She's had this one before.
Readers read and others ask. We ask readers what they read. What if they've read what we need? Reading makes one wise indeed. Readers read and others ask, even if the flames do lash.
Eustace scribbled all of this down. She seemed perfectly collected. I bumped the microphone, sorry. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. All of a sudden, Darcy stopped walking in her little circle. She began to wobble and tears started rolling down her cheeks. Her blissful smile was gone. Oh, this is new. What do you see now, Darce? What's happening? Fire. Yes, flames, you said that already. Through the fire and the flames, we'll carry on. We all know the song.
Goat. Fire. Goat.
Fire goat. Forgot. I forgot what I was talking about. Just another one of your visions. I'd say that tincture was a success. Oh my god, it's a tincture! That is literally marijuana! Darcy is gonna blitzed in the 16th century! Neurodivergent stoner nuns. Welcome to Misericorde, ladies and gents. Oh, good. Was it a nice one? Well, it's hard to tell. She touched her face and looked slightly surprised by how damp her cheeks were. Was I crying because I saw the face of God and it was beautiful, or was I crying because it was bad? We'll talk about it later. Darcy, how long have you been having visions? For a long time. We really need to be going. Oh yeah, I need to sit down for a bit after having one of my vision tinctures, or everybody says I stay too odd. So bye, I'll talk to you when I'm less odd. Then I get the feeling you won't be talking to her for a while. Eustace took Darcy by the arm and coaxed her back towards the main building of the Abbey. I stood there, stunned. I had of course read about mystics, but I had never dreamed that I would meet one, let alone see one in the middle of having a vision. I must admit that I had not pictured Darcy as being quite so close to God as that. It was a little humbling. Then again, if Marjorie Kemp could be so gifted, why couldn't Darcy? I spent some time alone in the garden. I could see rows of carrots, juicy-looking squashes, and plump parsnips. What the fuck is a parsnip? There are plenty of other things I didn't recognize, too. I realized just how limited my diet had been in my cell, and I salivated at the thought of trying some new food. The flower beds were quite beautiful, and a mix of pleasant smells filled the air. I took a little stroll through the flower bushes. There were all manner of colors and shapes that I couldn't identify. I stopped to smell a few. They were all lovely. There was one awkward, spindly-looking bush at the end of one of the hedgerows that looked out of place. It was slightly skeletal. The leaves looked too big for the plant. It drooped a little. As I got closer, I realized there were little berries on the ends of the flowers. Against all better judgment, I reached a hand out, curious to see what they tasted like. Don't touch that. Oh, goodness, you made me jump. Oh, sorry. I wondered if you were still in the garden and came looking for you. I'm sure it's all very exciting, but don't go touching things willy-nilly. Oh, that was very rude of me. I apologize. It's fine. Just don't touch that plant, whatever you do. Is it poisonous? Extremely. Oh, why on earth is it here? I'm no botanist, so I can't explain it properly, but the short of it is that it's useful in small doses. How on earth could poison be useful? Well, Moira says it can be used to make a good painkiller, for one thing. It was Catherine the First who begged Darcy to start tending it, though. Apparently it's all the rage in Italy. You drop a little bit of the extract in your eyes to make them look bigger, I suppose. Shinier. That's absurd. You won't get any argument from me, but that's why it's here. Darcy really does a wonderful job with this garden. Oh, she's brilliant. Darcy's our little Hildegard. Von Bingen, whatever. Sorry, is that someone you... Oh no, don't worry. I've read Hildegard. Oh, that makes sense. An expert with plants and a real visionary. Darcy's like her in several ways. Oh, that's right. Is she doing well after all that? Oh, she's fine. She tries to have them on purpose. She has all sorts of different concoctions she's been tinkering with to try and enhance and understand her visions for years. Oh, that's incredible. It's certainly interesting. Did Darcy know Catherine very well? Catherine II, you mean? Oh, yes. She thought Darcy was a genius. Oh, how nice. Catherine II had a way of making everyone feel special. Sometimes to a fault, if you ask me. She encouraged everyone to try new things to see if they had any hidden talents. That pudding you made for luncheon was very nice, by the way. Was that... Oh no, that recipe's all me. Well, all me in my books. I see. Well, it was delicious. I'm glad. Anyway, my point is, Catherine II was someone who couldn't leave well enough alone. She had many admirable traits. I miss her dearly. But it's true. I don't follow. Eustace stared at me pointedly from behind her large glasses. Be careful, Hedwig. With that, she turned on her heel and left the garden. Beads of cold sweat were building on my forehead. I felt knocked entirely off balance. After a few moments of stunned silence, I staggered back through the flower beds towards the abbey. It's a little chilly outside now. It was getting later in the afternoon, and I presumed the dinner bell would be ringing at any moment. Eustace's words were still bouncing around in my head. I'd hoped that a meal might straighten me out the way luncheon had earlier in the day. As I walked through the cloister, I remembered what the superior had said about the sword being left as something of a monument to Catherine. I stepped onto the cloister grass and walked up to the sword, somewhat apprehensively. Be careful, Hedwig. What had she meant? Did she know? The sword was indeed clean. It looked well weathered, but there was no blood upon the blade. I pulled it out of the grass, held it over my head, and screamed, "I have the power," before gently putting it back. Just had to get that out of my system. I dared not touch it, but I could tell the edge was still decently sharp. Be careful, Hedwig. How many of them knew? If Eustace suspected I was up to something, surely she would tell the others. The secret might already be out there. I heard a rustle of wings above me. I jerked my head up to see... Cloaked in shadow, the barest glint of eyes. Yeah, there he is, right center of the frame. Do you see it? Well, now you definitely don't see it. They disappeared into the shadows as soon as I was sure that they were there. I scurried away from the sword, feeling a sudden rush of bravery. I started running towards the nearest staircase that might lead me to whoever had been watching me. And collided directly with Angela. I'm so sorry. There's no need to be running in the halls. Did the superior not tell you that? No. I really am sorry. What are you in such a hurry for, anyway? Well, I was in the cloister, and I thought I saw someone watching me, so I was running to see who it was. What on earth for? To see... I don't know if they wanted to talk to me, perhaps? Of course. No one here seems to be able to resist your riveting conversation skills, I've noticed. What an exciting first day you've had. Has it been fun? Being paraded around like a daughter the Duke is desperate to marry off? Spare me. I can see right through your little act. I don't know. I don't know! Well, I do. I know exactly why you've joined us, all of a sudden. I'll take your silence as confirmation. You may have tricked the others, but I am no fool. If that's the case, then why haven't you told them? Because I do not care a whit what the others think. I just don't like meddlers, and I know a meddler when I see one. The superior may not care about how this place is run, but I do. I will not let her entrust this place to a complete outsider. Oh. What? I was at a total loss here, but at least now I could be honest in my confusion. You think I'm about to become the next superior? I'm not even close to the most senior sister here. As if tradition matters here. Why else would you have been let free from your cell? Why else would you be taking meetings alone with her? I'm just learning to be the new chronicler. Yes, the superior seems to think chroniclers make good superior material. She's a fool, but a determined fool, I'll give her that. She cares a lot about this place. Oh, clearly. Hence why she set a mouse loose in the kitchen. She stalked past me, turning her nose up. I stood there shaking with anger for a moment. I wheeled around as she reached the bottom of the stairs. Who killed Catherine? I know I shouldn't have asked so bluntly, but I felt confident enough in Angela's ignorance to barrel ahead. James Foreman, a nasty little stable hand who had his eyes on her ever since he first started making deliveries to the Abbey. She rejected his advances, so he hacked her head off with a sword he carried in his cart for protection on the road. It was brutal, random, and obscene, like most crimes are. I cannot believe that. You never met her. Why do you care? It's my job to care. Not yet, it isn't. I was fuming. But I did feel a little twinge of satisfaction realizing I had thrown Angela off of my real reason for being here. I knew she was wrong about Catherine, though. There were too many strange things going on, too much unsettling evidence to the contrary. Evidence like, well, I didn't actually have any evidence, did I? I just had whispers. Whispers telling me that something was very, very wrong here. I'd agreed with the Superior out of a mixture of obedience and pity, but now I was itching to find the truth and rub Angela's stuck-up face in it. Thrive out of spite, sister!